In this episode, I'm going to cover the roast chicken. It's one of those traditional meals for a lot of people that brings them back to when they were kids. Mom or dad made dinner, everybody sat around, talked about what their days were like. But the roast chicken, when done well, is the hallmark of a good cook. It's simple, but it can become very tricky or difficult if you don't know some of the basic things that you can do to make it essentially foolproof and delicious. So I'm going to show you those things. This chicken has been salted and dried for a couple days. As you can see, the skin has gotten very tight, very dry. Our first step after washing and inspecting the chicken is to get a weight on it. Right now we have 1.988 kilos, and so we're going to get 1% of that weight in salt. Now I'm using kosher salt. You can use whatever salt you want. Just make sure that it's about 18-19 grams here for this size of chicken. Now this next part is really easy. Pour some salt in the cavity, rub it all the way through. Then you're going to rub salt on the back side and on the top side of this chicken. Rub it in. Make sure that on the inside it's nicely massaged in. On the outside it's not going to absorb, but you do want to rub it and make sure that it's kind of adhered to the skin. Then we're going to flip it over so it's backside down, and it's going to go into the fridge for a couple days. Oh, and another thing, if you end up with any extra salt, just throw it in the cavity. It's completely fine. Alright, so here's our chicken. As you can see, the time it's spent in the fridge has left it dried out. The salt has helped bring a lot of excess moisture out into the cavity, and then it dried out in the ambient air in the fridge. And that's going to make this skin here going to come out crispy like a cracker. So something I wanted to show real quick here. When I got the chicken home from the supermarket, I saw that this wingtip is here, but over here on the other side, this wingtip's missing. Reason for that was likely due to, I don't know, quality control issues. I've seen it happen every now and again. It's not common, it's not a showstopper, but what it does is leaves it a little trickier to tie this side up. This side I'm going to leave the tip on, so that way I can basically fold it under itself and help tie the bird a bit better. But first, I want to get this bird filled with a couple mushrooms and a little bit of cilantro, and then we're going to get it tied up. Make it a little easier on you, I'm going to show you. I've already seen this before. So, just get these in here. And really, the reason we're doing this is structure. It's going to help build up that chicken look, right, which the tying is also going to help with. Oh, also important, I always keep the tie on. Something important with the cilantro, I always keep the tie on. As you can see here, take it off before you put it in the bird. I leave it on because it makes it easier to grasp everything and load it, but you don't want that in the chicken. Now keep in mind, you've already salted your chicken, so you don't have to do that again. And here we are, right? So this is full. When we tie it, it's going to be tied up a lot like that. And it's going to give us that chicken look. All right, one other thing I want to show you is right here, you know, this was face down. You can see a little bit of the juice in the pan, but this is going to be the side that's facing the bottom of the roasting pan. It's not going to get crispy like the top will, and that's okay. A lot of this is going to be going into a broth later. But with the side that has that wingtip, just put it up right in between the two wing sections. You do that, that's going to hold that wing together, makes it a lot easier to tie it, and it also just all cooks a lot better. Give yourself a nice length of string, and what we're going to do is we're going to tie this up. And something to keep in mind, some people cut off this little piece here, right, this piece. I know this is the Pope's nose. It's actually really delicious. After it's roasted, there's some meat in there, there's a little bit of fat. Some people cut it off. I would say leave it on. Okay, the process for tying this is pretty simple. Right, so that's one side. Then we've got another side. And after you get that initial round in, cinch them together pretty good. Right, so then from here, we're going to come forward. And about this time is when I flip it around so I can see it. Doing this for you, so it's a little more difficult. Now twist these two lines together. Make sure that this is coming up nice and even. You want it to come right in there and pull tight. Right, so at this point, our chicken is looking nice and tight together. Now, you can call it done. At this point, all you have to do, that's locked in. It's not going anywhere now. If you want, this can be done. I take one more step. The way I'm going to do it here is going to be pretty simple. X them behind here, and if you can, we're going to lift the chicken up like this, come around to the back, and I'll show you here in a second after I've gotten it cinched in. This is where also a butcher's knot is very useful. So after you come up here, come around and you finish it there. All right, so at this point, all you gotta do, trim those off, and we have a chicken ready to go. That's how you want it to look. Nice, plump. This is going to roast up really well and very evenly. One of the key reasons why you tie it is to keep the cooking even. Now we can do a quick vegetable prep and get this loaded into the roasting pan. First thing that's going to go in it is the bread. This is just some sourdough bread that I had made. So the rest of what's going to go in this roasting pan is we have some shallot, some garlic, mushrooms, carrots, celery, some pickled onion, and fresh tomatillos. Now the idea behind this platform is that I want to keep the chicken up off of any liquid that comes off of it. There we go, makes it a little easier for you to see. Regular vegetables and such will in fact break down, collapse under the weight of a chicken. You build it up with something a little tougher, like your carrot, your celery, and bread on the bottom. That's going to give a platform that keeps the chicken up off the liquid, keeps the chicken raised up. Settle it in, press it down. We have our chicken ready to roast. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 450 degrees before you put the chicken in. If you want to rub a little oil or butter over the top, that's great. It took about 58 minutes for this chicken to reach 168 degrees internal. When I check the temperature of a chicken, I go right into the thickest part of the thigh, and I want to see a temperature between 165 degrees and 168 degrees. Pull it out, let it rest on the counter, and carryover is going to take it into about 170 to 175 degrees, and you're going to be fully cooked. Let that chicken rest for about 10-15 minutes, and then serve it. This chicken was absolutely fantastic. It was meaty. You can really taste the quality of the bird when you make your chicken this way. Go out and make some chicken. It's easy, it's delicious, and it's one of those things that's going to impress people. See you next time.